Welcome back, lovelies, to Mila's Best Life Lately and the Desktop Vanity Substack. I thought that as we get ready with some holiday glam, we can talk about my thesis, the side effect aesthetic, and why we're starting to see a lot of injectable motifs in the beauty industry and in media, and what does that mean for us as beauty lovers, as consumers, and as women. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. Welcome back, lovelies. I thought that we would get ready for Valentine's Day as we talk about my main thesis for this discussion, which is about all of the injection and Botox motifs we are seeing in the beauty industry and commentary on the beauty industry, and what that means for us as women navigating the world and the internet and the beauty industry as our authentic selves. And I do have some notes because your girl does come with receipts, and I'm all about a really good casual thesis as we expand on our vanity office hours. I think it's best that we take these off and we start with the concept of very famous commentary on beauty horror, which I think is going to be a new genre entering the market when it comes to commentary on the beauty industry, because we see things like body horror motifs like in The Substance, where we're primarily seeing the visualization of the activation of the highest self. Basically, it's another way of amplifying yourself in some capacity, but at what cost? We also see this has a lot to do with the main character played by Mandy Moore's basically livelihood. Yes, exactly. Livelihood. Because now, since she wasn't young and supposedly pretty anymore and everything like that, she lost her job, her livelihood, her status. So it's inevitably not just about optimization of beauty, of glow ups, look maxing, etc., which I think has a lot to do with how AI has ingrained itself so much into culture that we're all about optimization. But it has a lot to do with how youth is commodified, in my opinion, like full, honest opinion. Youth has always and always will be commodified, and that's why we get terminology and we get conversations in our society like, oh, do it when you're young. Oh, when you're young, it's the best time of your life, or utilize it when you're young. Think about it. Think really deeply about it. This all is ingrained not much in pretty privilege, but in ageism as well. Then, when a woman becomes older, she doesn't just lose her status, she loses her ability to be commodified. She loses her ability to serve others for their selfish gain. Basically, that's a little bit of feminist critique on beauty standards, specifically the beauty industry with The Substance. We also see this with Ryan Murphy's The Beauty, where in this new series, it's more relevant to current events. And I feel like it's all commentary on aspects like The Substance and The Beauty, the concept of these injectables that is already prevalent. We see it with Ozempic as an example. We're already starting to see it with youth-based serums that are coming out. Although these articles that I'm reading are very sensationalist in nature. Matcha break. Girl had to do what a girl had to do. Basically, what I notice is, although this is satire, it's making inceptive commentary on what I consider the side effect aesthetic. I did waste a bit of moisturizer because I forgot I was going to promise myself to actually rub a little bit of this gel to oil facial makeup cleanser from Nutrium. It's really soft. It's really, really luscious, which I love. And I'm going to actually use it as a mask, as a treatment, because last time I did makeup on someone at work, we ended up wiping off some excess of the Elemis cleansing balm because I didn't have water for the Elemis cleansing balm, and her makeup sat beautiful, and she was acne prone as well, and she was worried about coverage and patchiness, and I'm like, that's because you're drying out your skin. You're using things like heavy aerosols, you're using mattifying primers. Those are all going to dry you out. We're seeing this new clinic girl aesthetic, and it's no longer rebellious in nature, it's conformity. A little tidbit for good acne makeup is skincare and skin prep, and making sure that your skin is plump and luscious and super smooth is great. I also recommend taking a glowy facial spray, specifically a setting spray, and putting it on before your makeup but after your SPF. The reason why is because it's not just locking in the moisture, but on top of that, it's creating this subtle superficial protective layer on your skin to protect you from your makeup, because it is true, sometimes makeup isn't always good for your acne prone skin. However, that sometimes we shouldn't feel compelled to have to sacrifice these things. If you want to wear makeup, so be it. That's just how the world is. If you want to wear it, you can wear it. Don't feel like you have to worry too much about that. Also, it's really hard to pick zits, BTW. It's really hard to not pick zits, BTW. So do not ever feel weird about that, like at all. It is notoriously difficult. The concept of my side effect aesthetic theory. We're seeing the rise of the hollow status symbol, where now it is a status to be thin, like how it has been for a hot second, and how the original body positivity fat skinny but curvy in the right way kind of a deal, that double standard we faced, that is all kind of wiping away. Now we're experiencing basically, I think, heroin chic 2.0, but instead of rebellious, it is innately institutionalized in nature. It is commodified, it's organized, and I personally think that it is heavily ingrained in some type of optimization instead. We're getting heroin chic 2.0, and that is something I am always continuously a little worried about, low key, like high key actually, because that used to be very problematic back in the 90s, and now we're moving our way back. People are getting their book of fat removed as an example, but it's all a status symbol because it's all basically relevant to the fact that you can afford to do that to begin with. You can afford to be thin. You can afford to have that face, to have those cheeks. In the end, it's not about beauty anymore, because I don't really think those are beautiful to begin with. It's all about status symbol, like so very imperative. And that's why I feel like we're having these new ejectable motifs in media, especially also in the beauty industry and how products are developed, because it's a status symbol. It's another way to say that it's not just clinical in nature, not just even more scientific, but it's also working better, aka optimized. Therefore, privileged. To be optimized with your beauty is inherently privileged, because now we're seeing that reflect in behavioral patterns that we continuously see with how beauty standards shape us as women. A little bit of SPF on, I do believe. Let's go ahead and follow through with the acne-based tips and put a little bit of this setting spray on. It's the e.l.f. Dewy Setting Spray Power Grip. I can confidently say that it is hard for me to spray as a girl who struggles to spray bottles. During this season, we're experiencing our skin burning. That's why it's a sacrifice when I want to put glitter on my face, because now I know that when I take it off at the end of the night, I can't use my tretinoin, I can't use a lot of things because my skin will be damaged because it's like exfoliating. So that's kind of a fun thing, to be acne prone, uber sensitive, and very dry at the same time. And of course, very, very stressed. Another secret to fabulous, beautiful skin is simply just really amazing prep, but also waiting, just a little smidge. But now we are seeing this medicalization of vanity, where people are making products look like medicine, vials, stringents, ampules. Now we're going from trusting doctors now from originally trusting influencers, which I actually appreciate that trend. But now it's coming with this cost where inevitably it's also revolving around the status of having accessible healthcare, and also accessible non-essential healthcare as well, like Botox. We already see people making jokes online. I see jokes, this is my favorite joke, and that is, I'm a nurse that works with a cosmetic dermatologist, and I'm excited that I get to meet people of all ages, yes, that are ecstatic to get an injection rather than a screaming, crying little kid that is freaking out. Fair, because needles do indeed scare me. So it's not like a big deal. I think needles scare the bejeebers out of me, like bottom of my soul, bottom of my heart. They just do. I think we should probably pivot to doing eyeshadow first, and then we'll do the base so we can give it more time to sit. And I'm of course taking these reusable silicone patches. They're better than the Pacifica ones because the Pacifica ones are way too thick. These ones are really thin and lightweight, and it will also help protect me from having too much fallout when I do glitter. We're gonna take a little bit of some primer. This is the About Face one. We love her. And I want to make my cheeks really appley and like smooth and like luscious and like really blurred. So I'm gonna decide if I want to do like the Sabrina Carpenter cheeks, but instead of up here, I'm putting it all in the center so I can blend it up with like a really chic light pink tone closer up. So just like a little extra oomph, 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 you know, which means I might not do red blush. I might just stick to pinks and everything like that. And I'm definitely going to be layering. So basically when we see projected motifs and satire of the beauty industry in this context, I like to think of it as the body as a project, which goes into the fact that we are all about optimization of our beauty rather than the ritualistic aspect. But I would argue that the optimization is ritual in nature, because rituals within culture are meant to basically fortify culture, fortify beliefs, but also create a sense of community. But I can't help in this case that this is creating a diffusion of different class systems, because I know for a fact that when we see how around, let's see, I know that the prestige beauty industry and luxury beauty industry is projected to go up by 6.3% within the next year, which shows that although supposedly we're in a recession, it just means that the richer are getting richer and the middle class are starting to become lower to middle class. We're going to take this dense brush, we're going to take a little bit of this putty and a little bit of this shimmery putty as well, and we're just going to really gently, boop, pack it onto the lids. This light blush pink that will also bring down to the cheeks. Basically, Murphy's satire project on the body as a project is inevitably people accepting death for the sake of beauty, which I feel like in itself is an interesting concept to really elaborate on, and here is why. And it's because people are right now accepting their fate for the sake of this power and this influence, because beauty, as we know, is power and influence. It always has been. I told you that with the substance, she lost her status. She lost her ability as a woman to be commodified because of that. Therefore, she was not considered useful to society. This is all about class. Now, we're already talking about how it's a status symbol. Let me give you some core examples of what products right now are actually implementing the motifs of Botox and injectables and everything of the sorts. That would be brands like Peter Thomas Roth, ugh, you know, the one that was in the e-thiles. Yikes. And that will also be Metapeel. That would also be things like VT Cosmetics with the liquid needles or spiral spectacles, like in the Riedel shot, as an example. Basically, we're seeing this liquid needling and this regenerative stimulation that is inherently exfoliating in nature. It's always about your body, your skin. You have to always continuously renew yourself. You have to be the best and better version of yourself. No ifs, ands, or buts. You cannot go and basically without doing anything like that. It's all about being the new you and never taking a break. You are moving the finish line when we want to be systematically, if we want to be interpretive like that. We're noticing that packaging is moving away from millennial pink, and that has to do with the sterile aesthetic, where blue and gray and silver are more trustable than the average product packaging. Now, here's the thing, is that as someone who works in marketing or has worked in marketing and works in beauty sales, color theory is a joke. It's too subjective. It's a good way to start, but color theory is subjective. It's not a true science because everyone has different associations with different colors. That's just going to be how it rolls. Resist doing a red lip so I don't look like Cruella or Ursula, which is not a bad thing. They're icons. I just want something that's giving like sultry, like simple Cupid rather than glitter, glitter, glitter. We're also seeing the loop of trauma, where now when we're seeing these motifs in media that are satire on the beauty industry, we are inevitably looking at how would I call it? We're looking at trauma because we're seeing now the concept of beauty is pain as what it really is, which is a traumatic experience of how we were criticized, ridiculed, or how beauty as a cultural phenomenon, as a status symbol, was pushed onto us as women, and how we supposedly needed to be pretty to survive. Basically, when we say that beauty is pain, it's trauma because it's all about controlled trauma. It's all about control. I would say it again if I could. It's about control. Because now we are subjecting ourselves to a standard that should have been arbitrary and should have been implicitly, what's the word I would use? I would say it would be implicitly temperamental to not say that it should have been not required to begin with. But yet, here we are. Now it's time to layer on some setting spray, and we are going to diffuse it by putting a little bit of some finely milled setting powder on top. And I'm simply going to set it only around the places where I know I'll crease the most and not everywhere else. And then I'll diffuse it on the outside. So therefore, it becomes super, super soft. This is a form of, yes, we're taking them off now. This is basically a form of controlled trauma, where it's a way of instilling a power dynamic that in order to be beautiful, in order to be accepted, we must go through pain. And these satirical motifs on beauty industry and injection-based culture is evolving with that. And especially now, I feel like we're seeing consistent trends where we're bringing back beauty is pain. But basically now we're seeing that tingling is coming back. We now desperately want a tingle. We want skincare and makeup that tingles. And we want the effect. We want to know and like instantly see an effect. Now we're seeing people and products being created. Now we're seeing people who want products that are going to give an instant effect, but we're not going to give you Botox in a bottle. Oh wait, we did. In many capacities. NAG, PDRN, everything like that. Although I do believe a lawsuit will come up soon because PDRN is meant to be collagen based. So I feel like there's a fine line with having vegan alternatives to PDRN that are like, oh, from bananas, from roses, which is true. PDRN can come from that. However, I do feel like it's a slippery slope because it is still technically not fully PDRN, because plant-based collagen isn't necessarily real collagen, although we already have seen that come about. We already have seen people perfect like vegan collagen. It's just not really available for the market right now. Anything you could get at Ulta or Sephora will not have the advancement that I'm talking about yet, because it is still being experimented on, and on top of that, it's licensing out. And they're not giving it out. It's really expensive. Take a little bit of a self-setting shimmer from Urban Decay. It's self-setting. Most liquid highlighters nowadays are self-setting, which is so cool. That basically means that they have the ability to make anything that you mix into it self-set on its own. So I'm going to do a makeshift long-lasting skin tint by taking a little bit of my Tasha Denona concealer, lathering it all on there, but really soft and really, really, really glowy. But overall, we're seeing these consistent trends in what beauty is meant to look like. And it's all about, I feel like, this reaction to this classist system where we want things that don't just work instantly, but I feel like it's all just about looking and feeling and being rich. It's all about emulating the upper class in some capacity, which means that, as we know through a cultural standpoint, through high, low culture, and full culture, that when middle class starts to emulate the upper class, it will eventually go out of fashion because that's just how people are. But with this new era of technology and social networking, anyone has the ability to be a tastemaker. You don't have to be wealthy to have taste. Taste cannot be bought. So therefore, in my opinion, anyone has the ability to have affluence. Like, I have a Benable account. I have like $80 right now saved up, and I'm just letting it all accumulate, just in case I have a rainy day. Oh, she's so pretty. She is very pretty. I will, however, probably utilize a little bit of my Chanel foundation, because the secret sometimes to really good, like really, really good complexion makeup is, number one, using enough. If you feel like your foundation isn't doing its justice, you might not be using enough, or you might be using too much. warming it up on the back of my hand, dense and highlighted. Will the blush show through? Just a smidge. And I'm okay with that. I'm keeping it all ingrained in my T-zone. We're going to set this unpolished, blended foundation and concealer. We're doing this on purpose. We're doing it on purpose. We're doing it on purpose. We're doing it on purpose. Ooh, that burns my face. That burns my face. Because your skin is so sensitive, Mila. I'm gonna speed up this process because I feel like I'm kind of covering the main parts of my thesis. So I might just speed run my complexion makeup and we'll call it. And of course, we took the ghost out of me. Add a little smidge on to bring back some color. Overall, to emphasize my thesis that it is inevitably about the upper class, and it's inevitably also a cultural standpoint that we want to go back to a sense of optimization and control. We like the feeling of being able to have full control over our autonomy, over our looks, over our body. And I think this is to go back to ChatGPT, the way ChatGPT has ingrained itself so much in our culture. It has made it very much so plausibility that it has ingrained our mindset to ourselves, to the beauty industry, and how we reflect on that. Because the beauty industry is a reflection of society, and the media that also makes satire on the beauty industry is inevitably a reflection on society as well. And it also helps bring us back to what it means to be a woman. Whether you choose to wear makeup or not, you will never truly unsubscribe from this narrative because it will follow you. That's just kind of how, sadly, it is. Whatever is left over, we're going to dance it around my chin. And since I'm pale, I decided I'm not gonna do any full contour. I know we're not supposed to be baking anymore, but I just can't help it. Your girl wants to bake. She wants to bake, especially if I want to be gentle. And I have a lot of cream like products on my face. And I want to make sure. Oh, nice. I'm looking in the mirror. This is gorgeous. It's definitely giving alt. I was inspired by a friend at work because she said that she got like a half compliment, half critique, like half compliment, half insult about her alt makeup. And I love the way she places her blush. So I, in solidarity, am going to wear my blush like this today. We're just going to stack on a little bit of this Lancome one, which I do actually very much so love. Oh, look how sultry she is. Ah! Of Benetint. Because all I did was put a little bit of like curl air dry styling cream. Magic. That's the behavior I like. Soft and simple. I recommend the Odell air dry styling cream if you want something that's reminiscent of Dippity Doo but doesn't take forever to dippity dry. Thank you guys so much for watching this part of the video. I hope you enjoyed this very relaxed Vanity Office Hours chat, and I hope to see you in the next video essay, which is coming up, which is going to be a little bit more high produced. I swearsies, it's going to be even better, which is so cool.